I'm Mike,
And I'm Amber. Welcome to the Covenant Chronicles,
where we tell you the truth about relationships.
giving you the tools to build the foundation you always needed. Well, we are back again. Welcome to the Covenant Chronicles.
Here we are. I'm just laughing because, I give you crap all the time about no warning. And here I am, like, okay, let's start. And you're like, oh, I'm trying to get this thing to work. So I lay my head back and I'm over here daydreaming. And all of a sudden you just start talking.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
I don't like to give countdowns.
Yeah. Well, on the last one, you caught me doing goofy noises with no warning. So there's that. It's all in fun. So, finances. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I think it's a good one. A lot of people struggle with this. There's a statistic out there that finances is the number one reason for divorce. We talked about this in one of our previous episodes, and it's connection.
Definitely a
Or the
hot button.
Yeah, it's the lack of connection. The finance issues are you could say, outcome of the lack of connection.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's an important place to go, because this is another area where you're going to see all these people tell you what the perfect way to handle finances in a relationship is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have all these different ideas and all these different thoughts. And here is my question. If there is one perfect way to handle finances in a relationship, then why is it that you see this relationship over here handles it one way, and this relationship over here handles it another, and I'm not talking about unsuccessful relationships. I'm talking about successful long-term relationships, right? The ones that you see where they've been married 30, 40, 50 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why is it that all of those are handled differently?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the answer is that there isn't a right way that is a one-size-fits-all for every relationship.
Yeah.
But what is the right way is communication,
Mm-hmm.
right? We talked about that, because even before we started this podcast, you're like, man, I don't really know where to go if we're going to talk about finances, right? You made a little joke because you're like, well, you handle the finances.
Yeah.
I said, well, let's talk about why that is, right?
Yeah.
So from your perspective, why do I handle the finances?
Well,
Put you
it's
on the
not
spot.
because I'm not good with money like that. It's not really that. More so that you know more and have studied more about the finance world per se.
Mm-hmm.
You know way more about things like crypto and like crypto still doesn't make sense to me logically in my brain. I'm gonna be completely honest. So like when you talk about it, like you were talking about it last night and you were like, does this make sense? And I'm like, I'm like, it's more entertaining to watch you talk about it because you're so passionate about it. It still logically makes no sense to me. I don't understand how there's just like this figurative money out there somewhere that just exists. Like it doesn't make sense to me. So anyways, like it's
Well,
not
we'll
that I'm
get you
not.
there. We'll get you there. That's what the US dollar is. It's just fake numbers in a system. So we'll get you there.
I don't know. For some reason it does not compute in my brain. So like it's not that I'm not good with money and like I typically do end up paying like a lot of our bills and stuff, but
Mhm.
overall, you kind of handle most of our finances, and I just see that as you doing it because I do know that you know more about it than I do.
Mhm. Well, and so that's a perfect segue into this, right? And I mean, let's talk a little bit about how our system is structured, right? Uh, we have a joint bills account. We have a joint credit card for bills.
Yeah.
Well, joint, by joint, I mean, you're an authorized signer, right? Um, and like you said, right? Because like the utilities, when it comes to requirements, right? There's no like there's no, hey, this is has to be in my name or it has to be in your name,
Yeah.
right? Uh we have, like, for example, the house, right, is in both of our names.
Yeah.
Uh the your primary vehicle is in both of our names. Um the utilities for the house, right? Those are in your name. You're the
Yeah.
one that set it up. I didn't have any part of it. It was just you had the availability, you set it up. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We never changed it, didn't see a need to change it. Uh, some of the other vehicles in my name, right? Like it is what it is. But there's no, like, when it comes to those basics, i- in general, we consider finances ours,
Mhm.
right? You do have an account, your own bank account that I have nothing to do with, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even track it most of the time. And in fact, if you have money going there, most of the time I just write it off as, well, do with it what you want, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we use it sometimes if we need to use that account for whatever. But you know, this is a place that for us, we've set everything up as one unit. And at the end of the day, we do have, for example, like any sort of investment type setup or whatever, right? We have like, there's, where to access the logins, right? But you don't even really know what they are.
Yeah.
And that's where you've said, hey, like, you know more about this than me, take over, right?
Mhm.
But like the utilities, if I'm out doing business and it's time to pay the utility or whatever, right? A lot of them are on auto pay on the credit card anyways. But if it's something that needs to get paid, you just go take care of it, right?
Yeah.
It's not this system where it's like, well, no, you have to have a job and I have to have a job. We've kind of self-implemented certain things where there's things that I take care of, right? At this point in time, the primary income, the long-term stuff like investing for our future, coming up with a game plan, overall where the money, how it moves, when it comes in, where it goes, all that sort of stuff. I handle all that. But like you said, like even with the utilities, like shoot you a text, hey, can you take care, whatever, or you'll tell me, hey, this is coming up, blah blah blah. I'm
Yeah.
going to take care of it. I'll say, okay, go take care of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But that being said, we do our finances very jointly,
Mhm.
right? Like I mentioned, you have your own account. Unless it's something important and we've pre-planned like money that's going to hit that account, it's like, okay, this has a place to go. Most of the time it's whatever hits that account is, I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want with it. Which is funny because you don't like spending money in general, but
No. I I literally went to Target today because I kind of needed something, but I went there, got the like 2 things, and was gonna text you and be like, "Hey, is it okay if I get these?" And then I was like, "Nah, I don't need it." And I walked back out.
I guess. Sure.
I just I don't I don't like spending
I'm aware.
money.
I know. I have to put you to like you'll like this is one thing that we're working on and be like, "Oh, I need this whatever. I need conditioner or I need mascara or whatever it is, right?" And it's like, "Okay, so go get it." Well, I didn't want to spend the money. How long have you been out? Like 2 weeks? You know, and I'm like, will you go get it? Like, and I have to like push you to go get these things that you need. Like, go,
Which
but
is funny because, like, if people who've known me for a long time listen to this, they're gonna be like, "That's not Amber," because that's not at all how I used to be. Like, I used to just buy everything all the time, but
well, that was a coping mechanism too, right? That's a whole
this
different
is
ball game.
true. But
But when it comes to finances, right? We've developed a system and this ecosystem where, you entrust me to handle most of this, but I communicate, right? That's the big point I wanted to bring up here. Just like when you were talking about, right?
yeah,
We're talking about crypto. And like you don't like in your own words, you're like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around.
yeah,
But I spent an hour last night showing you stuff that's going in the backside of the crypto that nobody's paying attention to right now,
yeah,
right? And showing you some of the reasons of why I'm like, man, when I should have invested 5 years ago the way that I should, or I started going down the path, and these people that I know that I associated with or dealt with have done these grand things, made all this freaking money,
hmm
right? And I chose a different path and I knew better,
hmm
right? But here's all this news and all the evidence to show that, like, it's still not there yet. There's still a ton of money to be made, right?
yeah,
And we talked about these things, right? And I showed you, hey, here's the ecosystem. Here's my plan. This is what I want to focus on. This is where I want to really focus on paying off our debt, living as broke as possible, and focus on investing in various assets.
hmm
And here's why,
hmm
right? And we had this conversation and I communicated it with you, right? Because
yeah,
when I do things, I don't, it's not this, hey, I'm just going to go do stuff. And then when you're like, start questioning me, you're like, well, why are you doing that? Right? Because that's where you start not maybe trusting me, especially if you don't understand why I'm doing things.
hmm
Right? And that's what I wanted to bring up here because you hear people talk about, right? There's plenty of married couples out there that every dollar goes into the same account and every penny is accounted for and nothing is separate. And, they, every penny they sit down and pencil it out together.
hmm
Or they have, certain situations where one partner or the other, right, like is in complete control of the finances and the other wants nothing to do with it. And
hmm
they're like, cool, I know I make money. I know I contribute. I don't know what it is. I don't know, I know nothing.
yeah,
And then you also have situations where, those are situations where the financials are combined. Then you have situations where it's completely separate,
yeah,
right? Where they operate off of, hey, what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. Hey, we have these joint bills. Okay, great. We're going to each pay half of the joint bills. And then outside of that, whatever we spend money on, whatever we do with our money is us, right? And I have my own opinions on a lot of this, right? Based on what a marriage is supposed to be, right? In
yeah,
in the way that we've defined it. But that being said, that doesn't mean that any of those scenarios will work or not work,
yeah,
right? You have to figure out what works for you. But what's going to contribute to the success of the relationship is one, the man leading. Okay, so let's start there. That doesn't mean he controls everything. That means he leads the situation. At the end of the day, if he has a spending problem, okay, he needs to have enough self-awareness to say, I don't necessarily need this debit card in my pocket every day, or this credit card in my pocket every day. I'm going to provide. I want to run through the finances with you. I want to be a part of this process. I want to be a part of investing for our future, but I'm going to let you handle the bills, babe. I'm going to let you take care of the bank accounts. I'm going to let you do, right? But at the same token, the big key factor is communication.
Yeah, I definitely think communication is a big factor in it and how you communicate about it. Because, in my previous marriage, like, I thought everything was like joint, and I guess it was like we had a joint account and like everything we owned was joint, but there was no communication ever about our finances. So, like, I knew there was money, but didn't, I mean, like, I guess I could look at the bank account and see how much was in there, but it wasn't like we were tracking it. It wasn't like we were having conversations about it. Like, there was no, like, this is how we're planning for our money, or this is how we're planning for our future. There was none of that, and I really had no control over any of it at any time. And so when we did have a conversation about finances, it usually didn't go well because I felt like I was being attacked, or he felt like he was being attacked. Like, there was no, like, joint team like communication about what was happening with our finances. We just felt like we were attacking each other about the finances.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, like, the communication side and actually having like good communication about it
Right. And that
is
doesn't,
important.
and like we talked about, it can look the outline or the frameworks of how your finances are handled can look many different ways,
Yeah.
right? I don't think there's a perfect way. I don't believe that there's a perfect way. I have my own, like I said, I have my own opinions of how that should probably look. But it's communication, right?
Mm.
It's being open and honest about things. That's where the difference is made. And that's where it's a massive difference between the situation that you described, where it's always attacking, it's always whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it being a place, uh, just a part of your life as opposed to an area of disconnection or an
Yeah.
area of contention, right?
Yeah.
And, I can honestly say that, like, in my previous marriage, it was a situation in when there wasn't communication,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'll take responsibility for that, right? But at the end of the day, it was that same situation, right? Of, well, if money got spent that I didn't plan for and it messed up a plan or my plan, then it would be me attacking her.
Mm-hmm.
Or if, vice versa, and it'd be her attacking me, or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
Versus now, like, we have a conversation and, any sort of, like, really money disagreement is more or less me being like, you need to make sure you're doing your self-care, and you be like, oh, but I don't want to spend money, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's our quote unquote disagreements about money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in that, it's just, hey, communicate, right? Like, tell me when you're out of stuff so we can make sure it's taken care of.
Yeah. I feel like people are gonna listen to this when I said earlier that like I went to Target and then I was gonna text you about if it was okay to spend the money because like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure
don't
people
worry.
are gonna take that.
I'm about to talk mad shit after this and be like, why did you not just do it? Like, or at
It's
least text me and be like, hey, I need this stuff. And I'd be like, okay, like take care of it.
right, because I know you would have been like, just do it. And it's not like I have to text you to ask you permission to
Mm,
spend money. It's just more because I
communication.
know, yeah, like we're on the same page wanting to like run it by you and like
Hmm.
it's not like you being overpowering about our money or something of that sort because I'm sure people will probably hear that and like that be the first thing that they think. But
Well, and those behaviors, I believe too, they'll come from potentially past situations around money, right? Where like you've been programmed a certain way for a long period of time. You know what I mean? And like it's a struggle now for you to actually understand that your needs are important too, right? But also, like you said, like, you have been in a place too in your past where spending money was a coping mechanism
yeah,
for other issues in your life, right?
yeah,
And, whenever we have a behavior that we aren't proud of, when we in the future try to prevent us from going back to that place, right? We tend to be overly cautious,
yeah.
right? And that's probably a lot of like the struggle that you have is like,
Oh, for sure. Because now I'm like, do I really need this though? Like,
yeah,
I overanalyze probably more often than I
yeah.
need to. But
Well, and that's where, but that's a perfect example, right? Of the communication aspect, right? And that's where I try to encourage you to communicate with me about it, right? So like we can do we can be on the same page and we can have more dialogue and it's a way for us to connect more,
yeah,
right? And that's the big key with finances, right? Is I put on the list of things for us to talk about how to handle finances as a couple because there is no perfect way.
yeah,
The perfect way is the one that leads to you being financially secure,
hmm,
right? Creating freedom for your family. And I don't just mean, hey, you can pay your bills. That's not a way to live, right? The ultimate goal should always be to get to a place where your life isn't so massively controlled by what's currently in your bank account.
hmm,
Because we've had this talk before, right? And you know, money isn't everything is a saying that was developed by poor people,
hmm.
right? And I'm going to catch a lot of flack for that, and that's perfectly fine, right? And you're going to also get the people that say, well, in the Bible it says not to idolize money. It does, 100%. But let's go to the other half of the Bible where it tells you to be wealthy and to be prosperous, but it tells you to do all things in his name,
Yeah.
right? People don't want to talk about that,
But I
right?
think that's a totally different conversation, but it's also about how you're spending your money.
Correct. And idol, are you obsessing over it?
Yeah.
Is money becoming your false idol, your false god, or is it a tool to create prosperity,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
Because okay, well, it also talks about tithing, right? And we can go down I'll debate people on well, yeah, you have to give 10% to the church. That's not what tithing is. If you read the scripture, right? And you should give money to the church. If you go to a church and you spend time there, It costs money to keep the lights on.
But also, like, 10% is like the bare minimum of what
Correct.
you should be doing.
Correct. and it's 10% of, right, we've talked about this too. It's 10% of everything.
Yeah.
Not just your money, it's your
Yeah.
time,
Mhm.
right? It's your mental, it's your emotional, it's your spiritual.
Yeah.
You should be giving, right, it to other people, right? The less it talks about, here's a fun fact that a lot of people have missed. It talks about single mothers,
Mhm.
talks about homeless people, basically,
Mhm.
right? And back then they had a different term for it. And there's a difference between enabling and people that are just at an unfortunate set of circumstances.
Yeah.
But it talks about all of that, right? Food, right? 10% of your take, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like off the top. Okay. But either way, the point of that is, right, is the most successful or the perfect way for you to manage finances in your relationship is the one that leads to prosperity.
Yeah.
There's not a perfect roadmap for every couple because the dynamic is different. Their personalities are different, right?
Yeah.
And yes, there are certain things that you have to overcome, but if you have certain addictions or you have an addictive personality, right? And when I say that, everybody instantly goes to drugs,
Mhm.
okay, or alcohol.
Yeah.
You can be addicted to video games. You can be addicted to porn, your OnlyFans subscription. You can
Mhm.
be addicted to social media.
You can be addicted to buying clothes and
R-
spending money.
Right. You can be addicted to spending money
Yeah.
or gambling, or you could be addicted to eating, right? Like anything can be an addiction that you're chasing dopamine for,
Yeah.
right? So, with that, you have to take those things into account. And if you're a compulsive purchaser because you're using it as a coping mechanism, well, obviously there's a bigger issue there that needs to be resolved. And let's work on that root cause, right?
Yeah.
But for the time being, you probably shouldn't be the one running the checking account that your bills come out of
Yeah.
or the credit card, right?
Mhm.
So there is no perfect framework that's going to be universal for every relationship. But the perfect framework is the communication, right?
Yeah.
Like we talked about, there's certain things that you handle in the finances. Most of the stuff I handle, but I also communicate. I talk to you about it, right? We're still working on your communication about your needs, but we'll get there.
That's different.
It's not different. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna get there. But it's communication, right? And with big stuff, you trust me enough to where you tell me to make the decision, and whatever it is, you're behind me.
Mhm.
But even when, especially when it comes to like bigger purchases, I talk to you about them.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. This is why I'm thinking. And you let me be a sounding board to throw my ideas out there because that's how I sort out my crap sometimes.
Mhm.
So it keeps you in the loop. And then your response is usually, well, whatever you choose, like I stand behind you, you'll make the right decision. But we have communication,
Yeah.
you know? If there's things that need to get taken care of at, for the house or whatever, right? Groceries. That's a place that when it comes to the money side, like that's your realm. I don't mess with it. I don't like hardly ever unless, there's like a hey babe on your way home, will you grab the groceries is not my realm, right?
The thing you forgot today.
Way to call me out. Yes, I did forget. I screwed up today. So it happens, right? But you still tell me, hey, I need to go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I don't, like, if you go do it without me, like sometimes the big Costco trips, I'll go. If you go without me, I don't ask you how much you're spending. I don't ask you for receipts. Like, you just go handle it, right? I trust you to make decisions. But there's still communication of like, hey, I'm going to go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Right? There's this consistent communication between us. And even if it's something that we don't deal with, right? Like, we still communicate with the other person. And it keeps that area open. It keeps connection between us. And there's certain things that we've had to learn to get a little better at communicating when it comes to this. But that's the point I want to drive home over and over and over. And I'll keep saying it until they get it, until they can take that and actually say, okay, maybe I should do this in my daily life. Right? Because like you said, like, and I brought it up too, like in our previous marriages, finances were an area of contention.
Yeah.
Right? And part of that is not having money, right? And I usually, if you don't have money, I put it on the guy. I don't, okay, I get it. There's those one-off extreme circumstances, where you have a situation where the guy is truly disabled because of an unfortunate event, and that is unfortunate. And I'm not talking to those situations, but in the other 99.9% of situations out there, there's not enough money in the household. It's on him. And I don't care about this. Well, she has the degree. I don't care about this boss babe crap that's going around. If the house needs more money, he needs to step up and get off his ass and make it happen. Right? But that being said, if there's an area of contention around money, it is usually the lack of connection, lack of communication that is creating that. So open the door for communication. Talk about it. Figure out what actually works for you. Unless you're independently wealthy, I can promise you the current financial system you have inside your household is probably not the best one for you. Unless you're on that track to be independently wealthy, unless you're on this track to where you can say, hey, I can retire by the time I'm 55 or earlier, and my kids are taken care of and their health care is taken care of. And if a crazy emergency comes up, we're completely fine. Like, if you're not at least on that track, truly, you probably aren't using the best system. And communicating with your partner will open the door for you guys to figure out together what the best system is, and continuing to keep that open communication is just another area that you guys can connect and work together and be a partnership instead of having an area of connection or of contention that is creating disconnection inside of your relationship.
And I think that there's probably some issues a lot of times around finances that stem with trust. So, if you're struggling with trusting your partner, then finances might be a hot topic until that side of things can also be figured out between the two of you. But I think, continuing to work toward you're never You're never going to get good at it if you don't work towards it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the financial side of things too, to be honest with you, most people are somewhat intelligent. They know that they should be tracking their money. They know that they should be, making sure that they're doing their 10%, that they're sticking their other percentage away for the future, that their bills should be below their required bills and, you know, needs should be below a certain percentage of their income.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to know that if you're not operating in that way, or especially you hear it a lot of times, right, from guys that are, oh, my wife loves to spend money. Oh, she would on the one of our previous episodes we talked about key performance indicators in your relationship. That is a key performance indicator, right? You couldn't get a bigger flashing red sign saying there's an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are in a financial position to where she can swipe the card for whatever she wants and it does not matter, and you have had that conversation of do whatever you want, you cannot outspend my income,
Mm-hmm.
then there is an issue. Maybe it's a personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can promise you that stems from something in childhood they probably need to work through.
Yeah.
Or if it's not a personality, and maybe they haven't always been that way, but this is the way they are now. I hate to break it to you guys, but it's on you. She's spending money because she's not happy and she's trying to ignore her life. So, what are you screwing up that's causing her to not want anything to do with her life?
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, if you take away one thing, I'm going to say it again, the people in the back that couldn't hear me the first 10 times, communication. Right? It's like good old Sesame Street. We're going to spell it out.
Are you going to spell it?
No. I went to public school. I'm not that good at spelling. But I had to say it slow, right? um, it is important. Use finances as a area to create a partnership. And if it works better where you guys keep your finances separate, you should still have communications, right? Communicate about it. Talk about it. Talk about what works for you. Talk about why you're investing in certain things. If you're not, you probably should be,
Mm-hmm.
right? But keep that communication open. And even if your stuff is completely separate, talk to your partner.
Yeah. And if your stuff is completely separate and you're in a serious relationship,
That's a whole different conversation. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That's probably for a different podcast, but you should probably put your stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have trust enough for that.
Yeah.
I know, like I said, people try to tell you, hey,
That's
well, this
definitely
works
a
for
trust
us.
issue.
If
But
you're married, I hate to tell you, but if you get a divorce, it's gonna be half anyways.
yeah.
So you might as well put your brains together and figure out the best way to take those two halves and implement them in the best way possible.
For sure.
So with that, what action step is going to lead them to handling their finances properly. Let's sit down and talk about budget, which most people probably haven't done.
Yeah.
Write down how much money you have coming in and go through your bank account. Not what you think is going out, because I promise you, far more is going out than you know, unless you're an expert budgeter already. Budgeter, that's a fun word. You are probably going to be surprised about how much money is going out. So sit down with your partner. That can be your action step for the next couple of days. Set some time. Go sit in front of your computer, your checkbook, or however you do your finances for an hour or two. Why are you looking at me like that?
The way you're pronouncing things right now is cracking me up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to keep it inside, but I know it's showing on my face.
Fix your face. Yeah. Go spend an hour or two in front of your computer, your checkbook, or whatever, however you track that. Figure out how much money actually comes into your bank account on a monthly basis. Figure out how much you're spending. Sit down with your partner and figure out what's coming and what's going. And even if your stuff is separate, you can do it on two separate sheets of paper. But that's your action step. Go sit down and have a conversation. And don't be judgy. It is just a conversation. If you're in a tight financial spot and you go do this activity and you realize that your partner is spending some money on coffees and their Starbucks or their coffee stands that you didn't really realize, and you happen to notice that it's expensive, cool. This is the opening to the conversation. If you've done this in the past and you have this mindset of, well, I've done this and we argued because I told him or her X, Y, and Z and they didn't like it. This is not the time to have a conversation and get upset at them for their spending. This is the time to have an open conversation and show them that you are actively trying to improve the relationship, and therefore you can sit down and go over this stuff without getting in your feelings and emotions.
That's a good idea. Good tidbit there.
Yeah. Gotta add that little caveat.
Yeah.
More so for the guys, because you know how us guys be. You're gonna go sit down and see the little spending that they didn't realize she was spending on.
And then she's gonna shut down and not communicate with you at all.
Correct. So
Yeah.
this is not the time to talk about what's going on in the spending. This is the time to just sit down, go through it with your partner, and just see where things are at.
Yep. Okay, go do that. And report back.
That's all you got. All right. Until next time, guys, hopefully you got something valuable out of this one, and hopefully it's going to make you realize some things in your own life. Take that, go do awesome things with it. We'll hear you next time. See you next time. Hear you? Yeah, something like that.
Have an amazing day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.